tributes.
My lords, before we begin our usual business, I hope the House will allow me to divert them for a second and to draw their attention to the historic day that today represents. The noble lady, Lady Hylton-Foster, is retiring as convener of the Crossbench peers. I think I'm right in saying, my lords, that the noble lady is so far the only holder of this post. It is a post which is perhaps even more exacting than the demands that are put upon the leaders of parties in your lordship's house, because the convener of the crossbenches has to be strictly impartial, and his or her flock, in this case her flock, above all, is a flock which perhaps more than anything else encapsulates the true spirit of your lordship's house, in the sense that the noble lady has had over the last 21 years, I think I'm right in saying, the noble lady has had to juggle the political views of people who come traditionally from the left of the political spectrum and from the right of the political spectrum, from the centre of the political spectrum, and from that indefinable reservoir of knowledge and talent which we call the great and good, and which habitually sit on your lordship's crossbenches. I think it is fair to say that the noble lady has set a stiff example to the noble lord who is to follow her, and I would like to pay tribute to the remarkable job that she has done, to wish her well in the future, to hope that she will not, because she has retired, fail to attend your lordship's house and to continue to give us the benefit of her views both in public and in private, and to wish her successor the very best of good fortune in the times to come.
My lords, on behalf of the opposition, may I join in the tribute that the Leader of the House has paid to the noble Baroness Lady Hylton-Foster. My lord, I think she has achieved something which is really unique in your lordship's house. Having been the convener of the group that is not a group, she has succeeded in establishing the group that is not a group as if it was a major group in your lordship's house. My lord, this was especially true, and she has fought indeed very hard for the members of the group that is not a group, in terms of accommodation, in terms of participating in their proper share of the time of the House when it was available. My lords, it is a remarkable achievement that she has for so long managed to guide, I hesitate to use the word lead in connection with the crossbenchers, that she has managed to guide such a disparate and talented group of people in the way that she has. My lords, speaking for the opposition, we've had an extremely good working relationship with the noble Baroness, invariably courteous, invariably been prepared to listen, not always been prepared to change her position after listening, my lords, but nevertheless, I think she has been a force for good in this House, and we wish her well in her retirement. My lords, may I also join with what the Leader of the House had to say in conveying our good wishes to her successor. My lords, how a speaker will do, having had that experience of discipline and firmness of dealing with an unruly flock, how that type of person will do now dealing so gently as he will have to with the group that make up the crossbenchers, we shall see. But my lords, we wish him well.
My lords, we shall all miss the noble Baroness as the convener of the crossbench peers. As far as I'm concerned, my whole parliamentary life has been, as it were, punctuated by her family. When I made my maiden speech in the House of Commons 47 years ago, her father was in the chair. When I made my first speech as a minister 31 years ago, her husband was in the chair. And when, 7 years ago, I, as somewhat inexperienced member of your lordship's house, I took over leadership of my party here. She was already a well-seasoned vis-a-vis and a very good exemplar. It is a most remarkable record of family service to the institution of Parliament, and to which she herself has fully kept up the traditions and made a most notable contribution. We thank her for her contribution to our proceedings and wish her well in her retirement, and extend our good wishes to her successor.
My lords, only those who, like myself, have had a seat in your lordship's house for very much longer than the noble baroness has been our convener can be aware of how very much we owe to her, because she filled what had hitherto been a very great vacuum. As your lordships know, we are not a party in the political sense, having anything corresponding to a party line. We are a group, united only on the basis of not being a party. But that does not mean that we do not have common interests. The need to have a weekly meeting, to exchange views, to find out what is going on in the House, and even more important, what is going to go on in the House next week. A weekly meeting and a weekly newsletter are absolutely invaluable services to all of us. Those of us who are taking our seats for the first time need a guide, philosopher and friend to help us on our forward way and learn something about procedures in the House of Lords. Of course, there is a guide and companion to the standing orders of the House, but we need to be told where it is and how to find it. And when we are making up our minds to deliver a maiden speech, again, we need a companion guide and philosopher who can tell us how not to be controversial without at the same time inflicting on your lordships a long succession of bromides. In the case of a political party, in the strict sense of word, this is all laid on by the whip's office, who have the satisfaction of knowing that they have behind them a coherent and hopefully well-disciplined party as a result, a party with a high morale. But we on these crossbenches are not a party. We are a group whose only characteristic is independence of the party system. The functional equivalent of a whip's office is therefore a service to be laid on by some individual whose satisfaction arises out of doing just that, giving a service, without any reward except the thanks of their friends. And for nigh on 22, she's already been there for 21 years, the noble baroness has done just that for all of us. And we are very deeply in her debt. The noble baroness is not a stranger to a life of service, as the noble Lord Jenkins has said. Starting as a nursing trainee with the Red Cross, a trainee nurse, she worked her way up the hierarchy until she was helping to organise the British Red Cross at national level. As has been said, her father was a Speaker of the House of Commons, service. Her late husband was a Speaker of the House of Commons, a service again. All her life has been dedicated to performing services for one interest or another, as part of a family of national public servants. And she has organised the Crossbenchers over these years into a prototype of what I believe your Lordship's House may become in forward years. That is, a life senate of the professional classes dedicated to political service rather than political power. On behalf of all those whom she has served for so long in your Lordship's House, I would wish to thank her for all she has done for us and to send her on her way with the blessing and goodwill of us all. May I add, as other speakers have, a welcome to her successor, the noble Lord Weatherill, who succeeds her in another service, a service to which he, in due course, is not unaccustomed.
Well done.
My lords, it is my pleasure from these benches to endorse all that has been said so fully and eloquently by others in your lordship's house. The archbishops and bishops in your lordship's house have been grateful for the kindness and support unfailingly offered by the noble baroness. and we very much appreciate being included in the meetings held and notices issued by the Crossbench peers. It can be lonely in this corner of the House, sandwiched between the parties, but there's great reassurance in being welcomed by the noble Lady Hylton-Foster and her noble friends, and I express sincere thanks for that. In common with all your lordships, I warmly welcome the noble Lord, the Lord Weatherill, as the new convener, and congratulate him as he assumes this responsibility. My pleasure is personal, and in doing so, is the greater because, expressing it is the greater because of his own family's connections with Bishop's Waltham in my diocese, where they live in the shadow of the Bishop's Palace, ruined centuries long before his or my lifetime. We, on these benches, thank the noble Lady Hylton-Foster, and welcome the Lord Weatherill, and look forward to our continuing association with the peers without a party and their convener.
Yeah. The Lord Chalfont.
My lords, I beg leave to ask questions standing in my name on the order paper.